This week, rock star Billy Crudup gives a teenage journalist the story of his life in Almost Famous.
Gwyneth Paltrow tests her luck with love and karaoke in Duets.
And federal agents track down a ruthless killer using Jamie Foxx as bait.
Dick, I got him. He's okay. He is on acid, though. I can't really tell. How do you know when it's kicked in? I am a golden god!
Billy Crudup is a rock god in the making, and Kate Hudson is the groupie who loves him in Almost Famous. It's one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week, and I'm Roger Ebert, film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Richard Roeper, columnist of the Chicago Sun-Times. Almost Famous is a consistently funny and exceptionally insightful rock and roll movie that spends more time behind the scenes than on stage, as we see the ascension of a fictional 1970s group called Stillwater through the eyes of a boy wonder critic and the groupies who tail the band like sexy shadows.
Et la carte se montre également comment faire usage au masque au oxygène.
This is Cameron Crowe's first film since Jerry Maguire, and it's his own story, as he really started out as a 15-year-old rock critic writing for Rolling Stone magazine. Crowe's on-screen alter ego is William Miller, played by Patrick Fugit, who seeks out legendary madman critic Lester Bangs for advice.
They're going to buy you drinks. You're going to meet girls. They're going to try to fly you places for free, offer you drugs, and I know it sounds great. These people are not your friends. You know, these are people who want you to write sanctimonious stories about the genius of rock stars, and they will ruin rock and roll and strangle everything we love about it.
I'm beginning to think there should be a role in every movie for Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, once William gets an assignment from Rolling Stone to write about Stillwater, he bonds with Kate Hudson's Penny Lane.
How old are you?
18?
Me too. How old are we really?
17.
Me too.
Actually, I'm 16.
Me too. Isn't it funny? The truth just sounds different.
I'm 15.
Going on the road with a rock band is just about every boy's fantasy. Billy Crudup is pitch perfect as the guitar god who tries to assure William's mother that the kid's all right.
You got a great kid here. There's nothing to worry about. We're taking good care of him, and you should come to the show sometime. Join the circus.
Listen to me, mister. Your charm doesn't work on me. I'm on to you. Oh, of course you like him.
Well, yeah.
He worships you people. And that's fine by you as long as he helps make you rich.
Rich?
That's Frances McDormand, who just makes you smile every time she turns up, as do Jason Lee and Anna Paquin and Terry Chen, among others in this outstanding cast. The early 70s are not really remembered as a seminal era in rock history, but as the soundtrack reminds us in scenes like the one where the Stillwater entourage sings Elton John's Tiny Dancer, there was a lot of great music, and the bands of that time and the kids who worship groups like Stillwater were as passionate as any other generation. With its crisp writing and authentic feel for the era, Almost Famous never hits a wrong note. It's the best time I've had at the movies all year.
I loved this movie.
I'm
loved
so glad to
every
hear that.
moment of this movie. And
Yeah.
you know, I started out as a professional journalist at the age of 15, too. And in a way, this movie was my story.
Did you know anybody named Penny Lane?
No, I didn't. I wish I had. But the thing is, you go into a situation where you're talking to adults.
Right.
And you're the reporter. They're looking at you, and they're thinking, this is a kid, but he has the power of the press.
Right.
And that's the way it's amazing. He's got an assignment from Rolling Stone, and suddenly he's on the bus. And these rock stars, at one level, you know, they're doing drugs, and they've got the groupies around. At the other level, they're protective of this kid, and they're really not bad people. And Billy Crudup, who was such a good actor, he was so good in Jesus' Son, and here he is again, gets just the right note of this guitarist who is a rock god, as you say, but at the same time is also intimidated by the kid's mother.
Definitely, because, you know, Mom starts talking to him. You remember, Billy Crudup's only playing a guy who's maybe 24 years old himself, and Jason Lee is really funny as the lead singer.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the look,
yeah.
you know, it doesn't have a look like, oh, they got a bunch of costumes and wigs. These people really look like they're living in the early 70s. What a fantastic movie.
People probably are not going to understand how good this movie is. It has nothing to do with whether you like rock music or anything else. It's a human story.
If you like good storytelling,
if you like
characters you can identify with, you will like this movie.
You're right. Okay, our next movie is named Crime and Punishment in Suburbia, and it's sort of an American Beauty crossed with The Virgin Suicides. The movie stars Monica Keene as Roseanne, an attractive high school student whose home life is a mess. She dates a popular football hero played by James DeBello, but the kid who really has her number is a loner played by Vincent Kartheiser, who stalks her, secretly records her life and photographs, and feels that in some way she's sad and he can redeem her.
Like taking pictures?
Yeah.
Why don't you take one? Come on, Vincent. That's your name, right? Take one.
Roseanne's stepfather, played by Michael Ironsides, is a sullen drunk who is enraged because his wife has left him for a bartender. Here he greets his daughter's boyfriend, if greet is the right word.
How old are you? 17? 18. Wow, 18. I was 18 once. No. But I didn't get to play any football or date the cheerleaders. I got one later, used one. And she's not here right now.
Roseanne's mother, played by Ellen Barkin, is indicted for the murder of her husband, and Roseanne and her boyfriend know that's not what happened.
Do you want to help me, or do you just want to let me get destroyed?
Yeah, but I don't...
Jimmy, I don't intend to be one of those geeks who just sits around and lets things happen to them. Do you?
It's easy to say Crime and Punishment in Suburbia borrows elements from American Beauty and other movies about troubled American families, but director Rob Schmidt and writer Larry Gross find a tone here that's all their own, a sad tone of kids who feel betrayed by their families. The weird loner kid is actually the happiest of them all, although there's something slightly loony about his self-assurance. Monica Keene is effective and perceptive as Roseanne, always seeming to know how this sad and isolated girl would think and feel. Of course, the movie has an attached ironic undertone, but it's not cynical, and it doesn't exploit, and I admired it.
I admired it a lot. And you mentioned Michael Ironsides, who's a familiar character actor, and of course Ellen Barkin. But I think one of the reasons this movie works so well for me is these kids are not well known. I have not seen them in a lot of other movies, so I was able to believe them. Also because they're very good at what they're doing. It's not just stereotypes. The football hero, he's trying to be more than just, you know, a
He's not just a jock.
He's trying to break out of his stupidity, which is not too easy for him, but there's a little bit of depth to him, and it really has an interesting look, as you mentioned. And what's wrong with borrowing from something like American Beauty? If it's even three-quarters as good
like
as that,
this
that's
Monica
a terrific movie.
Keene, who is so good, and she looks like, you know, your typical movie cheerleader.
Yeah.
But in a way, this is like the story of the cheerleader in American Beauty. What happens when she goes home?
Right.
And
a lot more
her,
work there.
you know, she's not just the popular blonde cheerleader. She is, in fact, this tortured, agonized girl who reaches out to this crazy, loony kid who nevertheless offers her a port in a storm at a time when her life is a shambles.
Everybody's a little bit more than what you think. A bartender shows up, he's got a little more depth. And you mentioned the loony kid, he actually is more comfortable with himself than just about anybody else in the movie. Okay, coming up later in the show, Gwyneth Paltrow shows off her musical talent in Duets.
And she knows just what it takes to make a problem.
And coming up next, small-time hood Jamie Foxx becomes useful to the FBI as bait.
Man, working out, Man, what's wrong with you people, man? Treat them like an animal like that, man. What kind of people are y'all anyway? Y'all push them around. If it was me, I wouldn't take that kind of bull. You know what I'm saying?
Jamie Foxx is a small-time thief who's in way over his head, and David Morse is the federal agent who's about to turn Fox into bait. That's the premise of a new film that tries to follow in the skid marks of action comedy hits such as the original Beverly Hills Cop and Lethal Weapon, with a dash of The Truman Show thrown in, if you can believe it. Now, the Treasury Department needs Alvin Sanders because Alvin may have some information that will lure an evil computer genius out of hiding. But how do they keep track of Alvin?
An experimental tracking device. We implant this. An appropriate subject. We put him on the street. We make it known he knows where the gold is. And I guarantee that our elusive computer whiz will show up.
Who would be willing to have that thing implanted in their jaw?
Of course, a jaw implant. Why didn't I think of that? It takes Alvin a really long time before he figures out something strange is going on, but then he turns into a master of deception who turns the tables on the feds.
Watch his hands, boys!
Alvin averages about one car chase and one street fight per day, yet he still finds the time and the energy to try out those Eddie Murphy-like imitations, while Doug Hutchison does a passable John Malkovich impression as the soft-spoken, effete evil genius, and there's Kimberly Elise, who brings some depth to the requisite ex-girlfriend role. But that's the problem with Bait. Everything feels like a second-generation retread of a better movie, and the rapid pace that managed to keep my attention for the first two-thirds of the film gives way to a preposterous ending that drags on long after I decided I wasn't going to take this bait.
Well, the last preposterous ending that you're referring to, of course, involves the racetrack, and I thought that was fabulous because it was completely over the top, utterly absurd, and I loved it with the bomb ticking off under the stands while he's out there on the horse running the wrong way against the field in order to save the day.
You gotta be kidding me.
I love
nice
it because
thoroughbred racing and horses all over the place.
Yes, they went for broke in this movie, and I thought Jamie Foxx was terrific as this trash-talking guy who actually is very smart and uses his personality as a shield against the world, and especially against David Morse, who also is going for satire, I think, and his agent, who was so hard-boiled
you're giving these
and
guys
so
way too
unsmiling.
much credit for
This
saying they were
movie
going over the top.
Really,
they were going for satire.
They were, and it's fun. It's fun. I liked it. I also like the fact that
really
the people who are listening to everything that happens in his life are having reactions to it.
That's a little bit of fun right there, but the rest of it, I mean, I think for you to say that they were doing satire is over the top, it's just really bad, and you were
exactly what they were doing.
Drugged silly by then by all the goofiness. To fall for that ending with the horses?
I loved it because I hadn't seen it before. I hadn't seen it before, and
You'll never see it again.
I'm laughing at how preposterous it is. Coming up next, Gwyneth Paltrow and Huey Lewis in Duets, the stories of strangers whose destinies meet in a karaoke bar.
And if you want it, you got it forever. And if you want it, you got it forever. This is not a one-night stand.
Huey Lewis sings a duet with Gwyneth Paltrow, the daughter he's ignored for years in Duets, a movie about three couples, all lonely, all sad, who converge across the lost highways of America to compete in a $5,000 karaoke contest in Omaha. The oddest of the couples is made up of Paul Giamatti as a burned-out, fed-up salesman who has simply walked out on his family, and Andre Braugher as a convict just released from prison.
Where you going? Chicago. Where you going? Nowhere. I'm actually out buying a pack of cigarettes. What's in Chicago? My mother's in Chicago. Oh. Okay. Well, they probably got cigarettes there. Hop in.
Then there's the professional karaoke hustler who met his daughter for the first time at her mother's funeral. She wants into his life.
You spent a month sleeping with Tom Jones in his Vegas hotel room and you never had sex?
No.
Well, what exactly did you do for Tom?
I kept him from being lonely like I'm going to do for you. We're family, Daddy. I've waited my whole life to spend time with you.
I'm not cut out for this.
Maria Bello plays another karaoke competitor who is broke at the moment and picks up Scott Speedman in a bar.
Are you free?
Free for what?
I need a ride.
Where you going?
California. I don't have any money, but I'd be willing to be nice to you. Real nice. All the way to the Sunshine State.
Florida's the Sunshine State.
Whatever.
These stories are not without humor, and yet the underlying tone is sad. You get the feeling nobody has any fun in karaoke bars, and that the singing is just a mask for loneliness and alcoholism. The movie was directed by Bruce Paltrow, Gwyneth's father, and the best surprise in it is the performance by Huey Lewis, who was in Robert Altman's Shortcuts and a few other films, and here blossoms as a real original. He has movie star quality as an actor. He's not just a singer. The movie sometimes made me laugh and sometimes touched me, but like its characters, it drifts when it ought to know where it's going, and finally, I can't give it thumbs up.
Well, you sounded like you were going to give it thumbs up there.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
But I can. I can easily give it thumbs up because this is one weird movie, but I liked it a lot. It's like that weird friend you have. People, why do you like that guy? But I liked a lot of things about this. Huey Lewis can act, and he's really good. The other people who are, Gwyneth Paltrow can sing, and she's adorable here. And each one of the weird little stories worked on every level for me. Paul Giamatti is so funny and so over the top here, and you watch his character break down. And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of sadness going on
There's a
here.
lot of good acting in this movie. The characters are well
and a lot of good writing and a lot of good surprises.
Well, I think it's a real good try. It's a real good try, and it just doesn't quite make it.
Well, it succeeded for me. Okay, next up is Human Resources, probably the first movie ever named after that department at work you visit exactly twice, the day you start and the day you leave. Now, if you think it would be difficult to make a compelling drama about the political intrigue of the personnel office in a mid-sized factory, you're dead right. This French film about a business student named Frank who returns to his small town for an internship at the local factory moves at an escargot's pace. Here, Frank visits the factory where his father has worked for 30 years.
Tu positionnes ta pièce
vois là-bas au fond, c'est la soudeuse. Alors là, tu as un écrou qui descend, qui se positionne tout seul. Tu poses ta pièce par-dessus. Et un gars bien entraîné sur cette machine, il fait 700 pièces à l'heure.
Frank is a bit full of himself after his schooling in Paris, and he finds a kind of surrogate father in the factory's owner, Mr. Rouet.
Donc, qu'est-ce que tu comptes faire à la fin de l'année quand tu auras ton diplôme en poche?
J'avoue que je sais pas encore.
Écoute, je voudrais pas faire trop de promesses, ni trahir mes intentions, mais je pourrais peut-être appuyer ta candidature dans un poste de l'usine du groupe, par exemple.
Even though Frank is the one with the education, he's the last one to realize management used his employee questionnaire to justify the dismissal of a dozen workers.
Vers ton père. Mais tu t'avais même pas prévenu?
But even after Frank regains his proper sense of loyalty and joins the mini-French Revolution, Human Resources continues to plod along at an excruciating pace, made all the more depressing and dull by the bleak colors used by director Laurent Conté. Nor does the central relationship in the movie really develop. Frank's dad is a short-tempered, small-minded man who grinds his way through life and takes no joy in his son's moral awakening, nor does he derive any satisfaction from giving his son a college education and a shot at a better life. I found Human Resources to be about as stimulating as filling out an employee review form.
Would you have liked it better if this working-class drama in the winter in France had had brighter colors? You're criticizing the colors now?
I'm saying that that's
like
the effect it had on me.
I
found it to be dull and plotting, and the colors were kind of washed out, and that made it all the more boring for me.
This is not a fast-paced movie.
That is correct.
It is a movie about people's lives, and it's the first movie I've seen in a long time about the boring, crushing experience of having to work at the same machine in a factory for 30 years, and yet this man is so involved, this father, in his job that he won't even go out on strike after he's been fired. And the poignancy between him and his son, because it's a class thing. The son is now going to be management. The father has been proletariat all of his life, is so perceptive and so heartbreaking and so touching. And the way that this man sits in his couch and just collapses when his whole life is taken away from him while his son realizes what's happened is it's just really valuable, this movie.
I think you're giving the father character too much credit for being absorbed and into his job. He just doesn't know any better, and he's afraid to ruffle feathers even after he's been fired. He just doesn't want any trouble. He doesn't want any confrontation. He is a coward.
He's a coward who fears management, and his son goes to management, and then he fears his son, and then he fears everything. There's a lot of humanity in this film.
I didn't see it.
When we come back, my video pick of the week is W.C. Fields, who seems about ready for another revival.
Ebert and Roeper in the Movies, Video Pick of the Week, is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
The great and strange and wonderful comedian W.C. Fields goes in and out of fashion, embraced by some generations, forgotten by others. In the 60s, college students went to Fields' revivals and recited his dialogue by heart and had his poster on the wall of their dorm rooms. Now he's completely out of fashion again, but that may begin to change with the release of a new DVD featuring 6 of his classic short films.
A fucking niblick.
Fields was an old vaudevillian and juggler, a skilled physical comedian who always acted like he was half drunk and usually was.
Now stand clear, boy, and keep your eye on the ball. I have it. All right, stand clear. Stand.
In addition to this new DVD release called 6 Short Films by W.C. Fields, most of his features are available on tapes and discs, including My Little Chickadee with his favorite co-star, Mae West.
Novelties of notions. What kind of notions you got?
You'd be surprised. Some are old, some are new.
And he played an unforgettable Mr. Micawber in the 1935 version of David Copperfield. W.C. Fields, ready once again for rediscovery. He's my video pick of the week.
Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this week's show. 2 very big thumbs up on Almost Famous, the pitch-perfect story of a kid who gets to go backstage. 2 more thumbs up for Crime and Punishment in Suburbia with its gifted young cast. We split, though, on Bait. I thought it was a derivative action flick, but Roger liked its energy. Another split on Duets. Roger admired the performances, but felt it didn't deliver, but I thought it succeeded on every level. And finally, a big disagreement on Human Resources. It never held my interest, but Roger was touched by its working-class worldview. For me, Almost Famous was far and away the best movie this week. I like Duets a lot, too, but really Almost Famous is the movie people should
Almost Famous is one of the best movies of the year. And, you know, it's like summer is over. Good movies can come out of hiding and go into the theaters again now. And Crime and Punishment and Suburbia, also very good.
Yep.
Remember, you can hear our reviews at ebert-roper-movies.com and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, more new movies, including Under Suspicion, a police showdown starring Morgan Freeman and Gene Hackman, and also the horror thriller sequel, Urban Legends, Final Cut.
You ever hear the urban legend about the guy who picks up the dead hitchhiker?
Next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.